You were told that progress would save you, that every new milestone, every new achievement, every step forward was proof that life was improving. You believed that moving upward was the only way to exist without sinking into despair. But, tell me honestly, if progress is the cure, why do you still feel so hollow when you reach the places you once thought would bring peace? Why does each accomplishment dissolve into silence, like sand slipping through your hands? Maybe the lie isn't that you're not progressing fast enough. Maybe the lie is that progress was ever meant to fill the emptiness inside you. From the moment you were old enough to understand the world, you were trained to move forward. Grades, promotions, status, wealth, markers of a life climbing upward. You were told to chase them as if they were food for the soul. And for a fleeting moment, they do feel like nourishment. The applause, the recognition, the quiet whisper of self-approval. But then the silence returns, louder than ever. You realize the hunger never truly leaves. No matter how much progress you make, the void inside you yawns open again, asking for more, more, more. It's a hunger without a bottom. And what terrifies you most is not the idea that you might fail, but that you might succeed, only to discover that success tastes like ash. What if the finish line you're sprinting toward is nothing but an illusion, and the emptiness is waiting for you at the end, arms wide open? Modern life has mastered the art of convincing us that progress equals meaning. It tells you that moving forward is the same thing as living fully, that you can measure your existence in milestones, achievements, and possessions. But the deeper truth, the one people try to bury beneath endless distractions, is that progress has become a substitute for meaning. And substitutes are fragile. They shatter when you hold them too tightly. Think about it. You reach one goal, and almost instantly, your mind shifts to the next. There is no pause, no savoring, no true fulfillment. The ladder has no top. Every time you climb another rung, you simply find yourself staring at yet another rung above it. And in that endless ascent, you forget to ask why you're climbing at all. You forget that perhaps ladders were never meant to be climbed, only questioned. The world applauds you for being in motion. It shames you for being still. And so you keep running, terrified that if you stop, the silence will catch you. But silence is not your enemy. Silence is the mirror, and the truth it reflects is brutal. You are not chasing progress because it fulfills you. You are chasing it because you are terrified of who you are without it. There's a reason that some of the most outwardly successful people speak with bitterness about their achievements. The billionaire who feels empty, the celebrity who falls apart, the leader who admits in private that victory has only left him more restless. They have touched the summit, only to find that the summit is barren. What they hoped would be a banquet turns out to be a desert. But this is not just about wealth or fame. It's about all of us. Even in ordinary lives, the cycle repeats endlessly. The degree, the job, the house, the marriage, the children, the retirement plan, the funeral. You tell yourself that each step is progress, but progress toward what? A grave with slightly nicer flowers. If you are honest with yourself, you will see the terrifying truth. Progress doesn't save you from death. It only distracts you from the fact that you were never promised anything more than this fleeting moment. And so, people cling to the illusion because it's easier than facing the void. To admit that progress is empty is to strip away the comforting narrative that keeps you moving. To face the possibility that you are running in circles, decorating your prison cell with new ornaments, calling it growth. It's a brutal thought, But what if progress is nothing more than the art of polishing chains? The emptiness you feel is not a glitch in the system, it is the system. It is designed to keep you hungry because hunger keeps you moving. But here lies the paradox. The more you move, the more hollow you become. Progress was never designed to give you rest. It was designed to keep you restless forever. And yet, buried within this bleak realization is something dangerous, something liberating. If progress itself is empty, then you are no longer obligated to worship it. You can step off the treadmill. You can choose meaning over motion, stillness over speed. But such freedom comes with a cost. The cost of no longer being applauded by the world. The cost of being misunderstood. The cost of seeing clearly what others spend their lives trying not to see. Imagine what it means to reject progress. Not laziness, not stagnation, but rejection. To say, I will not measure myself by ladders. I will not define my worth by milestones. I will not pretend that endless motion is the same thing as depth. It is a terrifying rebellion, because it leaves you without the illusions that others cling to for survival. But perhaps only in that rebellion can you taste something real. What does real even mean? Perhaps it means the moments that are not on any ladder, the fleeting experiences of being alive that no achievement can reproduce, the quiet connection with someone who truly sees you, the simple presence of existing here now without needing to prove anything, the recognition that life's value is not in its progress, but in its raw, unpolished immediacy. A single second of authentic existence may hold more truth than a lifetime of so-called progress. And maybe that's why progress feels empty. Because it is an attempt to stretch life across a framework that was never built to hold it. Life resists being measured. It resists being owned. It resists being turned into an endless march. To treat it as progress is to flatten its depth, to reduce it into milestones that can never capture its essence. You can climb forever, but you will never touch the sky. And so the tragedy deepens. You begin to sense that the structure of your life, your routines, your ambitions, your carefully planned steps, is built on air. Progress seduces you with the promise of control, but underneath you remain powerless against time. No matter how many rungs you climb, the ladder is sinking into the grave. And the grave does not care how high you've climbed. It swallows the king and the beggar alike. This is the realization most people cannot bear. Progress is not salvation, it is distraction. It keeps you from staring too long into the abyss. It gives you the illusion that forward motion is victory, when in reality you are marching steadily toward the same ending as everyone else. And yet, this is not meant to depress you. It is meant to strip away the delusion that has chained your soul. Because in the absence of illusions, something else begins to appear. When you let go of the obsession with progress, you are left naked before life itself. For the first time, you can taste it without additives, without measurement, without translation. You can see that the richness of existence was never in the ladder, never in the milestones, but in the spaces you ignored while climbing, the moments you rushed past, the breaths you took for granted, the faces you never really looked at because your eyes were fixed on the next rung. But this confrontation with truth is not easy. It feels like death, because in a way, it is. The death of the story you told yourself about why you're here. The death of the belief that progress was proof of worth. When that story dies, you feel exposed, stripped of armor, left with nothing but raw being. And raw being is terrifying, because it cannot be measured or justified. It simply is. What will you do with that naked truth? Most people retreat back into the comfort of illusion. They pick up the chase again because it is easier to keep moving than to sit in silence. Easier to chase shadows than to face the blinding light of emptiness. But if you resist that temptation, if you endure the discomfort, something shifts. The emptiness that once haunted you begins to transform. It no longer feels like a void to be filled, but a space to be entered. It becomes the very ground of freedom. When you stop worshiping progress, you discover that stillness is not stagnation. It is depth, and depth is something progress can never offer. Progress is horizontal. It stretches outward endlessly, but it never penetrates. Depth, on the other hand, sinks into the marrow of existence. It does not seek to escape the void, but to live inside it. And in that descent, you may find the meaning you were always chasing on the surface. The world will not understand this choice. It will mock you, pity you, even despise you. It will say you are lazy, unambitious, a failure. But that's because the world is addicted to motion. It cannot fathom someone who refuses to run. And yet, there is a quiet strength in standing still while others exhaust themselves in a race with no finish line. To resist progress is to reclaim your humanity in a culture that has reduced life to productivity. Think of the greatest moments of your existence. Were they moments of progress or moments of presence? Did they arrive when you climbed a rung on the ladder, or when you forgot the ladder even existed? A conversation that touched your soul, a silence that held you like an ocean. A fleeting second when you felt alive without needing a reason. These are the fragments that reveal what progress tries to hide. That meaning is not found in moving forward, but in being fully here. But even now, the question gnaws at you. If progress is empty, then what is left? What is the alternative? The answer is both simple and unbearable. Nothing. Nothing is left but the raw fact of existence. And that is the point. Life does not need to be justified by progress, because life itself is the justification. The emptiness is not a problem to solve, it is the opening through which reality pours in. The terror of progress is that it tricks you into thinking you can outrun death. The liberation of rejecting progress is realizing that you don't need to. Death is not an interruption of progress. It is the final unveiling of life. When you stop measuring your days as steps towards some future, you finally begin to see them as what they always were. Miracles that exist for themselves, not for what they lead to. And maybe that is why the emptiness feels so unbearable at first. Because the void is not a void at all. It is too much, not too little. It is the raw immensity of being, stripped of all illusions, all progress, all ladders. And when you step into that immensity, you are no longer progressing. You are no longer climbing. You are simply alive. And that is more than enough. So, why does progress feel empty? Because it was never designed to make you full. It was designed to keep you hungry, to keep you moving, to keep you distracted until the very end. The question is whether you will remain a slave to that hunger, or whether you will dare to stop, to descend, to be. Few will ever choose the latter, because it demands everything. But those who do discover something progress could never offer, truth. And the truth is this: progress is not life. Progress is the shadow cast by life. And shadows, no matter how large they grow, will always be hollow. If you want something real, you must step out of the shadow and into the blinding light of existence itself. It will hurt. It will strip you bare, but it will be real, and real is the one thing progress can never give you. Step into the emptiness. Step into the silence. Step into the life that waits beyond progress. Because only there will you finally taste the fullness that cannot be measured, cannot be earned, cannot be lost. The fullness of simply being. If you are ready to face the truths most run from, subscribe to Philospiral.